To eye the tiger. The color pink has been spotted on store products, football jerseys, and even the Empire State Building, letting us know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Dr. Gloria Richard Davis of Meharry Medical College is here to give us the facts about breast cancer and to let us know who is at risk. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Gloria Richard Davis.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
So, first of all, let's talk about the risk factors that can lead up to developing breast cancer. What would these be?
Well, first of all, just being a woman. And then when you look at women who have their first child after age 30, they're at increased risk. Breastfeeding is protective, so women who don't breastfeed. And certainly any woman who has a family history, principally of any first-degree relatives, meaning mother or sister, is at increased risk.
Okay.
Using any sort of hormone therapy after menopause does increase the risk some.
So how often should a woman be checked for breast cancer?
Well, that's a very controversial question right now. And it's almost like a ping pong ball that we keep batting back and forth. Depends on whose guidelines you follow. The American Cancer Society and the American College of OBGYN recommend that women have screens every other year between age 40 to 50, and then every year thereafter. There was a recent, however, report from the U.S. Preventive Task Force that really brought a lot of controversy to this discussion, and their recommendation was that women would not be scanned or screened until after age 50.
Interesting. And are mammograms still the best option for having your breasts examined?
Mammograms are the best option that we have. Now, there are certainly different types of mammograms, and if you have dense breasts, which happens to be a risk factor for breast cancer, about a 4 to 5 time-fold increase. So if you have dense breasts, a traditional mammogram doesn't work as well as a digital mammogram. And so that allows us to see the tissue better and avoid having lumps that would be hidden by that dense tissue to be diagnosed. If that's not sufficient, then certainly the radiologist would order augmentation test like ultrasounds to differentiate cystic lesions or an MRI of the breast. But as a screening tool, the mammogram works well.
Okay, and what about someone who doesn't have the financial means to have a mammogram? What can they do?
There are a number of programs around, one of which we certainly support and sponsor at Meharry Center for Women's Health Research. We provide free mammogram screening for women who are not covered. National General Hospital every year runs a free screening program in May, as well as the Susan Cumming Foundation has a mobile unit that they send to multiple communities around to do free mammograms. So there are certainly ample options for women who do not have coverage.
Awesome.
There also is the Center for Disease Control sponsors a program for cervical and breast cancer screening. So for women who are 50 and over, even if they're uninsured, they can get screened through that program.
Great. That's great. A recent study actually revealed that African American women are more likely to develop breast cancer than white women. Why is this?
Well, let me sort of quantify that, because African American women are more likely to have breast cancer below the age of 50 than Caucasian women. But after the age of 50, it's actually a lower incidence. Unfortunately, the mortality rate, whether it's under 50 or over 50, is greater in African American women. And there are multiple factors that contribute to that. But the breast density that I mentioned earlier, which increases risk factor, African American women have denser breast. And so that may be one of the issues that increases the risk, in addition to the fact that we're learning more and more about vitamin D and vitamin D deficiency, placing people at risk for cancer, cardiovascular disease, and African American women and the population in general has lower vitamin D levels.
And so if you have denser breasts, is it harder for a mammogram to detect it? Is that that why that's an issue?
It is. That is an issue. It's harder to find lumps that may be masked. That's why it's important to get a digital mammogram instead of an analog. And also when you think about doing self-breast exams, which are important, you know, women should do self-breast exam every month. They may not be able to feel the unusual lumps because there are certain lumps and bumps that are fibrocystic disease, they're benign. So for women who have dense breasts, they may be feeling those and not recognizing maybe there's some other lumps or bumps in there that really should be evaluated.
And how many African American women are affected by breast cancer as opposed to white women?
Well, if you look at statistically in the United States, there's about 200,000 women who are diagnosed with breast cancer. For African American, there's about 20,000 per year that's diagnosed. And of those 20,000, we typically expect that the death rate is somewhere around 10,000. It's almost about half.
And interestingly enough, men can also develop breast cancer. How many men are affected by breast cancer?
Well, for men, it's a rare event. It gets a lot of attention when it does occur, but really in terms of men that are diagnosed on an annual basis, it's really only about 5 cases a year. So, rare event, creates a lot of attention. We're not quite sure what places any particular men at risk for breast cancer, but certainly any male who notices a lump on his chest or breast tissue should get evaluated.
Definitely. And because breast cancer is a huge donation circuit, what is the best way to donate to breast cancer?
The Cohen Foundation does a very good job, I think, of putting the money that is donated to them back into the community. So certainly I would recommend donating to them. And we'd be happy to take donations as well to the Center for Women's Health Research, because we also provide, locally, we provide free screens for women in the community.
Great. And besides free screenings at Meharry, are there any events coming up at the hospital for breast cancer awareness? Is there anything going on?
We have done most of the events in the community, and as you mentioned, October is Breast Awareness Month. So we've been to multiple churches in the community, providing information, making women aware of the free screens that are available. On Saturday, we have a team that is participating in the Race for the Cure. So we'll be out there again with information in terms of free screens. And we'll continue to do this even when October is over with, because it's an important issue, not just October, but year-round.
Awesome. What is it that got you interested in women's issues?
I've always been, as far as I can remember, interested in women's issues. It was really almost by circumstance, however, that I got involved in the breast cancer screening program. From the age of 12, I knew I wanted to do medicine. And after my first clinical rotation, which was OBGYN in medical school, I was bitten. And from then on, you know, it was women's health all the way. In terms of the breast cancer screening project, when I was recruited to Meharry on January 2007, we were just opening the Center for Women's Health Research, which is one of a kind in the country. And that was one of our premier projects. We'd gotten funding, NIH funding, to actually purchase a digital mammogram unit with the explicit purpose of looking at risk in African American women. And we were very fortunate that Senator Thelma Harper supported this program and funded through the state some of the screens that we've done. So far we've screened over 600 women.
Wow, great. Yeah. That sounds great. Well, we're lucky to have people like you in the community. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, we have to go to commercial, but don't go anywhere, because when we get back, Eye the Tiger's Clarence Ball interviews Vanessa Williams at this year's National Black Theater Festival. Stay tuned.